Welcome to another NEBA Spotlight. Today, I'm very happy to present to you Mark. Mark, tell us about you. Tell us about your business.
Absolutely. Again, Marc Cole. I am a franchise consultant with a company called the U Network. We are a boutique firm of 40 consultants like myself. We work very closely together. A little bit about me from a personal perspective. I grew up in Long Island, where I live with my wife, my two grown kids, my three grandkids are all within an hour from where I live. Started my career out of college in the textile industry, 16 years with one company, and I knew after a while when I got downsized and I lost my job that it wasn't the place I should be at for the rest of my career. But it turned out I jumped into different career paths. The last 20 years, I have been in the prior to franchising, I was in the corporate gifting space. And that's when I spent my first 9 years with 1-800 Flowers, and that's when I fell in love with franchising. I got very close with all of 800 Flowers local florists across the United States. They were franchisees, and I basically listened to them, learned about the challenges that they were having, the good things, the bad things, and then I continued down my path, and then stumbled upon a company called Whoops Macarons and Gifting, a franchise brand. They hired me to do corporate gifting, but within a very short amount of time, I jumped into running franchise development for them. Why? In the franchise world, it's not about me. It's all about the client, what they like. When you work for a brand, like any sales organization, they are responsible for selling territories across the country. I didn't love that. I jumped into consulting because I'm about helping individuals. And when you work for a brand, it is a one-dimensional product or service that you offer. What I do as a consultant is I ask a lot of questions. I find out what my clients like, what they don't like, what their strengths are, what their weaknesses are. One of the things that I love about what I do is the franchise industry is mandated by the Federal Trade Commission. And the Federal Trade Commission is in business to protect consumers like you and I. So they have a document, it's about 300 plus pages. And you, as a company, a brand, if you want to offer your product or service in every individual state that you want to, you have to file the franchise discovery document that's known as an FDD with that particular state. And there's a very lengthy audit process. The Federal Trade Commission is not going to take your word of all your revenue numbers in that FDD from the previous year are accurate. They're not going to take your word that there are no litigations. They're going to validate that you have never been sued before. You are not currently being sued. They require that companies disclose everything. What does it cost to get started? And there's going to be a range of cost. Why? Well, if you live in Sioux City, Iowa, the cost of labor and rent is quite a bit different than downtown Boston or Manhattan, right? So there's always going to be a range. The U Network, we have contracts with 350 different brands. So one of the brands, I'll just showcase a little bit. I'm not sure, can you see who this is? Okay. So Shrunk 3D is a brand that I got to spend some time with one of the founders at our conference back in September. And we're at the Park City Olympic Village, and there's a big event that we had there. And the general manager of Olympic Village, I'm talking to the founder of Shrunk 3D, and he comes over and he's witnessing everyone going in this little uh, uh, trailer and coming out with a big smile, and asked a lot of questions. And I'm watching a contract unfold because he said, in the ski season, we have hundreds and hundreds of thousands of people coming through here, and everybody would love, something of their experience that they can take away from. So that's just one of the companies. Most of the brands that I represent are known as emerging brands. Maybe they've been in business for 50 years, but just the last few years decided to franchise. Maybe they have 5 locations, maybe they have 100 locations, and they want to grow that quite a bit. So they bring in consultants like myself to help sell territories for their products or service. People tell me that, Mark, what makes you very unique and different is you really do care and you want to help. Share a quick story with you. One of my clients, I presented about 10 different brands to him. And a week later, we had a scheduled call. And Joe said, Mark, I appreciate your time. Just doesn't make sense for me. I think I'm going to go with another brand that I've been looking at. And he told me a couple of, stories that the brand owns a few territories in New Jersey, and they're looking to sell them, and it's at a really, really discounted price. And it just didn't make sense to me. And I always leave my calls when they say they're not interested. Say, you can always call me. I'll be more than give you some non-biased advice. Well, I went on their franchise discovery document for this brand, and shared some information that Joe was not aware of, and called out a couple of things that he was not aware of that was a little suspicious. And I put him in touch with the franchise attorney. I tell all my clients, yeah, it is very important when you go through the process that you do a lot of research. You look at every aspect of the brand that you're going to be in partnership with, because just like they have to approve you, well, you have to approve them. Is this a company that you want to be in business with, that you want to work with over the next X amount of years? And don't just assume everything that they tell you is accurate. In many cases, it's accurate what they share, but you have to be a New Yorker. You have to peel the onion back. You have to ask a lot of questions. You have to hire a franchise attorney, because a franchise attorney understands that 300-page document, because it is the Federal Trade Commission's document. So item 19, for example, lists all the revenue numbers from the previous year. So they don't waste your money. Attorneys who are great folks, but they do charge per hour, where a franchise attorney knows exactly how much time it's going to take him or her, and they will give you a flat fee. Typically, it's about $2,500. And sometimes that $2,500 is the best money spent if you're not buying that franchise, because he or she uncovered something that you didn't know about, right? And there's my ring.
Thank you, Mark. How do people get in touch with you if they want to learn more about you, your services, or just have some questions?
Yes, thank you.
All right, thanks.
Oh, I'm sorry. My contact information is in the chat.
Awesome.